So then we are back with more understandings from the time of the Second Tabernacle services, where we find the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Israelic lineage. So then we can understand the time of the end as per Yeshayahu the prophet. We find layers of understanding of the spring feast, the autumn feast, and also the returning of the cities of the Hamashiach laid waste for many centuries. Reading from Yeshayahu the prophet, it's always important understanding the layer related with trade of the time of the end. As then Yeshayahu the prophet was explaining, many of these sections, such as the 23rd chapter, explains the many sections of the time of the restoration period, the time of the trade refurbishment, and most importantly, obviously, the data coming through the world at this present moment. And not only this, very importantly, came out today an extremely important video regarding then the leadership of the Soviet Union, and then the importance of infrastructure or infrastructuring. As it was explained before many times many years ago, regarding then the trade of China, the Chinese system, infrastructure, ports and airports, and then roadways, and very importantly came out today an extremely important video regarding then infrastructuring from the viewpoint of a great power and very important nation such as the Soviet Union. Now then, many years ago, Yeshayahu the prophet explained in the 11th chapter regarding then the Netzer, a Gentile Netzer. It's quite a bit unique, because when these portions of the scripture on a reflective understanding, or then the reflected prophecies of the time of the restoration and the autumn feast, there are portions of these existing system that is pointing directives and organizations of trade, military, that's going then lead into the portion of scripture known as the autumn feast. Now then, a lot of people don't recognize these because simply they don't read the holy instructions. They are not interested in learning it. Yet, from a line of understanding from years ago of recordings and videos and explanations, it's showing that the line of thinking is very in line with what then Daniel the prophet and Revelation were indicating. So coming from a very powerful nation such as the Kingdom of the North, when relates with the time of the restoration period, regarding the nations of the Gentiles, not the nations regarding tabernacling. Daniel was mostly a Gentile prophet. Yitzkiel was then mostly tabernacling prophecies. So then those people who are spiritualizing every section of the scripture, such as those who cannot buy nor either doing trade, they don't have a clue of what then the original manuscripts are indicating, and they have a tendency of spiritualizing every section of the instructions and the scripture. So then when they read, they think somehow, some way, the divine nature is going to control the human interactions. when truly the scripture does not say so. The nations of the world, they were for a long time given completely liberty to do whatsoever they wanted. So then, these layers of understanding, simply they are going to get reorganized on how the flow of these events must take place. Now, the form of each of those events must take place as per as the instructions of certain nations are given as far as trade. There is absolutely no nation that can survive without trade. So then, it is amazing the number of people who are spiritualizing the scripture, and they simply make up facts of their own, mix it with faith. So then the faith factor and the fact factor, as they mixed up these, because they don't want to give any explanations, they don't want to study the scripture, they simply refuse of listening what the scripture is saying from the original point of view. It's easier simply, the divine someday is going to take care of it. Somehow, some way, the divine has the control over the history of the planet. And they don't understand that the interactions of the Gentile nations got nothing to do with divinity. That's the only problem. Those people who are in power, well, these people, they don't even care. They're not interested if it's divine or not divine. What they want is more money, more influence, more power. So then, spiritualizing the scripture is not truly the way the original manuscripts were given. Because obviously, there is a nation that's going to come from the east. There is a powerful nation on the north. There is a military power in a world that's going to obviously become very influential during the time of the autumn feast. And the people simply, they don't want to understand. They want to live on their daily lives as if the scripture were simply stories. And then the line of understanding of trade, tabernacling, and military, as was explained many times before, years ago, they are lining up as per the instructions of Daniel. So next time we're going to evaluate more of these from the enlightenment of Galah. So please stay tuned. Much more coming up.